Thank you, Marwa, for accepting our invitation and becoming a great speaker for our fifth episode. This is our episode number 5. We've had teachers from Europe, Middle East, Asia, all over Asia and US for our previous episodes. And this one, our speaker for today is from India. This is our first speaker from India. We are super glad to have her. And her topic is very unique from all of the other topics that we've had. We try to have a different topic every month, and her overall topic will be about conscious parenting. Uh, just for a short introduction, this is a great way for parents to nurture their children. This is also a great tool for educators, for teachers to also adapt. This is not only for parents, this is also a great tool for teachers as well. So without any further ado, let's welcome Marwa, and she'll be sharing her screen.
We start then?
Yeah, go ahead. Oh, we have one more speaker. Oh, I'm sorry, one more guest. Sorry. Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing your names, Joshi and Nozwa. Welcome. I'm Baika. I'm the host of Global Educator Online Conference monthly webinars. Today we have a speaker. Well, let's welcome Marwa for her wonderful presentation. Okay, Marwa, please take it away.
So, as you all know, today we are going to discuss about conscious parenting. So, let's begin today's session with a short story. Apart from being a psychologist and a parenting coach, I am a toddler mom. I have a 3-year-old daughter. So, a few days back, I saw her using my scissors. So, my initial reaction was to stop her from using it. I wanted to react by telling that keep that scissors away, it's going to be dangerous. But then I paused and reflected upon it. So, that's when I realized that this was a reaction that I got when I was a child. I wasn't allowed to use scissors because it was a dangerous object for a child and it will harm a child. So then I realized that most probably how we raise our children is actually influenced largely by how we were raised by our own parents. And conscious parenting is about being mindful of these patterns. Apart from this, it is a parenting approach that focuses on connecting with your child on an emotional level by understanding their needs and modeling healthy behaviors. It encourages mindfulness, having an empathetic attitude towards your child, and a presence of mind. Now, let's see what are the core principles of conscious parenting. First one is mindfulness in parent. So, you all might be familiar with the term mindfulness, right? So, mindfulness is about being aware in the moment. Now, mindfulness in parenting implies being present with your child, avoiding distractions. So, if you are playing with your child or if your child is talking to you, make sure that you are physically and mentally present with your child, avoiding distractions. Second one is empathy and validation. Understand your child's experiences and validate them. Now, how do you validate your child's experiences? You can either verbally or non-verbally acknowledge your child. So, verbal acknowledgement is wherein you tell your child that I understand that you are upset whenever they are going through any difficult emotion. Non-verbal acknowledgement is by offering them a hug or holding their hand for a while. Third one is connection before correction. Most of the parents tend to focus on correcting their children's behavior, rather than connecting with them on an emotional level. Now, a conscious parent is someone who wants to spend adequate quality time with their children. Another important aspect of conscious parenting is self-regulation. That is, understanding your own emotions and reactions as a parent and being able to manage these reactions. Okay, so if you're someone who is very short-tempered or who have been raised in an environment where you were scolded harshly, then you are most likely to project them onto your child. So, being a conscious parent, you should be mindful of these patterns and make necessary changes in breaking these patterns. Now, parent is as a mentor, not a ruler. As we all know, a ruler is someone who tries to control others, but a conscious parent is someone who acts as a mentor, providing necessary guidance for their children. Another very beautiful concept of conscious parenting is recognizing and accepting your child's authentic self. See, try to see your child as they are rather than as a reflection of yourselves. See, no child can be a perfect or an exact reflection or a replica of you. They can never be a copy of yourself because the environment that you grew is entirely different from the environment they are growing. So it's not possible for your child to, become a reflection of you. So as parents, we must accept or, we must understand this fact. And embracing child's authentic self also involves letting go of control. Allow your child to express themselves instead of trying them to mold as per your personal standards. And also encourage their individuality. Each child is unique. They have their own unique personality. Try to encourage that their unique personality by providing them necessary support and guidance. So, on our journey towards conscious parenting, it's very important that we realize or that we reflect upon our own inner journey. Now, when we try to do that, there are two elements that comes up. One is the parents' expectations, ego and expectations, and second one is emotional triggers. Most parents have an ego-driven expectation for their child to reflect themselves or to fulfill their unmet dreams. For example, if a parent wanted to become a doctor and they couldn't become one, so they are more likely to pressure their child to become a doctor. Now, this will create an unnecessary pressure on the children, but as parents embark on their own inner journey, they'll be able to let go of these expectations. And they will realize that each child is unique and they have their own unique path. And then eventually they will be able to support their child's unique talents as well. Emotional triggers usually stem from unresolved childhood issues like past experiences, which were present in the parents' own journey or in their own childhood. For example, if there were someone who were scolded or who were being punished severely when they were a child, and when their child triggers these emotions, they are most likely to react aggressively, like by shouting at them or punishing them or withdrawing attention from them. So, this is just one example of how an unresolved childhood issue can get triggered by the child's behavior. Okay, for example, a parent has grown up in a highly critical environment where whenever they made a mistake, they were punished or they were made ashamed, which have led to low self-esteem. That is, the parent have started to evaluate themselves negatively, and they also developed a fear of making mistakes. Now, this is, it is actually present in their childhood. It is not resolved yet. And then what this person, when they grow up and when they have a child, and if their child defies rules or makes mistake, this parent gets triggered. They started feeling angry and they start getting irritated, and they will also respond with criticism. Okay, so it's very important to reflect upon these unresolved issues. Now, when you become aware of these emotional triggers, your focus should be on responding instead of reacting. Okay, now what is the difference between reacting and responding? So imagine your child has spilled juice on the floor. So your reaction would be, what would be your reaction? You always make a mess. Why can't you be just careful, right? And suppose if you reflect upon this, you pause for a second and start reflecting upon this reaction, you will realize that this was actually rooted in my parenting, in my own childhood, where I got scolded from my parents even for the smallest mistakes. Okay, so then you can respond to your child saying that it's okay, mistakes do happen. Let's clean it up together. So, a conscious parent is someone who makes conscious responses instead of getting triggered or instead of getting driven by automatic reactions. Now, these are few steps to respond consciously. First one is pausing and taking a deep breath. Whenever you feel that you are getting triggered by any behavior from your child or it is, triggering your some kind of unresolved issue, make sure to pause and take a deep breath and try to acknowledge or try to validate those emotional triggers and then choose a response that aligns with your own values and goals. So here's a simple activity that I want all of you to try. Maybe I'll explain the activity. You can try it after the session. Since the session is recorded, even for those who are watching the recording, they can try it as well. So in this activity, what I need you to do is first of all, identify the any three behaviors. I know there will be a lot of behaviors, but just let's focus on three. Any three behaviors that triggers you as a parent. Okay, any behavior of your child that triggers you. And in the second step, I want all of you to write down your emotions, thoughts, and assumptions that arises during these situations. Okay. And finally, I want you to have a discussion with yourself on how to pause during these situation and think of different strategies that you can use to respond. Okay. Like instead of reacting, what are the strategies that you can use to respond during this tough situation? Okay. Now, another focus of conscious parenting is building empathy and mutual respect, that is, respect between the child and the parent. So, the first one is listening actively. Give your full attention to your child when they are expressing themselves. And second one is validating their feelings. So, when you try to validate or when you try to acknowledge your child's feeling, they feel heard and understood. And if you want your child to have empathy, you need to encourage perspective taking. Teach your children to consider others' perspectives and their feelings. Eventually, they'll be able to become empathetic towards others. And if you want to be a conscious parent or if you want to practice conscious parenting, it's really very important to have a nurturing environment. And these are the three perfect ingredients for a nurturing environment. One is positive communication, using calm and kind language even when disciplining your children. Second one is predictable routines. Try to have a consistent routine with your child. Why? Because it will help the child to feel safe and secure. They will know what to expect next or what to expect at each point of time. Third one is having a physical and emotional space. Now, you need to create, as parents, it is our responsibility to create a safe space for our children where they can express themselves freely without any fear of judgment or without any fear of punishment. So I particularly wanted to talk about this topic. Why? Because I think as parents, we all know that we are supposed to be very gentle and calm with our children, but it becomes very difficult, or we often lose our calm when it comes to handling challenging behaviors. So let's see what are the tips that we can use for handling challenging behaviors, being a conscious parent. So first one is reframing the behavior. The way you interpret your child's behavior has a huge impact on how you react to that behavior, right? So, for example, if your child is crying constantly and you tend to interpret that behavior as the child being stubborn or as the child trying to seek your attention. So, your reaction will be mostly you'll shout at your child or ask them to stop crying, right? But again, if you try to reframe that behavior as you might interpret that the child is crying because he is hungry, or he is too tired. So if you reframe the behavior in that way, you'll be able to be more empathetic and you'll be able to, maintain your calm. So always remember that try to look at your child's behavior as a form of communication. So whenever your child is showing any challenging behavior, ask yourself this question: what need or feeling is my child trying to communicate with me? Because in the case of children, they don't know how to express themselves very well. So they'll be expressing their various needs through different behaviors. So it is a responsibility of our parents, of us parents, to identify what are the things or what are the needs that they are trying to communicate through our through various behaviors. Now, second one is using gentle discipline. Is there any messages coming in the chat box? Something related to the session?
No, 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 it's
I'm
okay.
getting notification. Yeah. So, second one is using gentle discipline. So, approach discipline with empathy and focus on teaching your child rather than punishing them. And but always make sure that even if you are using gentle discipline strategies, set clear boundaries with your child. Okay. For example, if there are children who, who when they are crying, they have the habit of hitting their parents. Okay. So, if we are trying to address this behavior using gentle discipline strategies, first, like I've already told you, first we need to acknowledge them. So we can tell them that I understand that you are feeling upset, or I understand that you are angry. And our second, second step should be focusing on setting a clear boundary. We should tell the child that the way you are hitting is actually hurting me. Now let's think of some other ways to help you express your feeling. Okay, so this is how you can set clear boundaries, even being while being gentle with your child. Then next one is using positive reinforcement. So reinforce desired behavior with praise and encouragement, and try to focus on progress and not on the final outcome. Like if you want your child to behave in a particular way, or if you want to, instill some behaviors in your child, reinforce them or appreciate them even while they are making progress in that behavior. Don't just wait for the final result or the final behavior to be shown. So here are some few tips that you can try in order to become a conscious parent. First one, like I have already said, practice active listening. Give your full attention to your child when they are expressing. Make sure that you maintain eye contact with your child, use nods, and have an open body language so that the child will know that you are listening to them. Second one, a very, very important step is to create connection time. Schedule at least 10 to 15 minutes from your daily routine and spend that quality time, one-on-one quality time with each of your child. Suppose if you're someone who have got three kids, at least spend at least 10 minutes each a day, or at least twice a week with each of them. And during this connection time, let the child lead the activity. Let them decide how they want to spend that connection time with you. Do they want do the coloring, or do they want to play with the toys, whatever. Let the child decide, and always make sure that avoid interruptions as much as possible during this connection time, because we parents, we tend to have that, we have the tendency to get to keep interfering. So but make sure during, at least for this, 10 to 15 minutes, let's be mindful. Let's be mentally and physically present with that child, and not interfere much. Third one is practicing self-care and emotional regulation. This is something that I try to emphasize in my every presentation. So talking about emotional regulation, see, if you are not able to regulate your own emotion, you can never teach healthy emotional regulation skills to your child. Okay, so as a parent, we need to manage, or we need to learn to manage our anger or our own emotions. Only then we can model that healthy emotional regulation skills to our children. And next, about practicing self-care. If you are an overwhelmed parent where you have got so many things to handle, then it is not possible to become a conscious parent. Let me tell you that. Okay. So if you want to become a conscious parent, make sure that you prioritize yourself. Okay. Whatever is bothering you or is making you feel overwhelmed, try to tackle that, and only then make an attempt to become a conscious parent. Because you can never ever pour from an empty cup. So make sure that you fill your cup first, and then focus on your child. And a few tips that I would like to suggest for practicing self-care is to do mindful breathing exercises. It actually works wonder. The moment you wake up, just for 5-10 minutes, practice mindful breathing exercises. You can get a lot of videos on YouTube. And also practice positive self-talk. And whenever you feel that you are getting triggered, or when you feel so overwhelmed, or you have that urge to shout at your child, just pause for a second and take a deep breath. And I had like to end the session with a very powerful quote, that is, the way we talk to our child becomes their inner voice. So if you are a parent who keeps on telling a child that you're such a dumb, you're such a stupid, then eventually your child is going to become a dumb and a stupid child. So make sure what you say to your child, because tomorrow that is going to shape them. And yeah. So thank you so much, everyone, for patiently listening to me. And you can stay connected with me through Facebook and Instagram. And in case anybody have any question related to what I've discussed so far, feel free to connect with me, or you can share it in the chat box.
Thank you, Marwa, so much. There were so many
Welcome.
practical applications, practical recommendations, advices that can be applied in our daily lives. They were very helpful, I think, not even just for parents, as like a teacher on like how to be very gentle with our students. As you said, working with children can be extremely challenging. We lose our anger, we lose our patience. So there were so many takeaways. There were just so many. I have 3 pages long, but I just wanted to like highlight just a few points that you made that really stuck out and I really liked. I like the part about like how you said about practicing self-care and regulating our own emotions. Do you have any tips on that? A little bit more, could you just, dig in a little bit? How can someone regulate their own
Yeah.
emotions? Like we can be 30, we can be 40. I know my mom or my parents in their generation, 56-year-olds can also even it I guess age is not really like an important factor, but regulating our own emotions can also be difficult. um, Different
Yeah.
hormones, different emotional status, financial issues, etc. Do you have any tips on people, adults? How can we self-regulate our emotions and master our own mindsets?
Yeah, so first step is again awareness, be it any kind of emotions, like how much awareness the person has, because what happens is most people who are short-tempered, they don't even realize that they are short-tempered. Okay, so the first step is awareness, and second step again the breathing techniques. It actually works for anger management as well. And we should also try to analyze the triggers, like what are the factors that is triggering this emotion like anger in them. And along with that, practice the breathing techniques. It will also work.
Thank you. Thank you. Definitely I will try them right away tomorrow. I liked also how you said like how you set clear boundaries at home. And has there ever been a time that your children push your boundaries? Has there been like a time that they push? How often do they, test your limits and boundaries?
Again, ultimately we are all human beings. I'm also a human being, and we often lose our calm at times as well. But I always believe that it's not about being calm all the time.
Hmm.
Again, if you are losing your calm at some point of time, try to have an open communication with your child. I do that with mine. So I told her that, see, I got angry at that point of time because of these things. We have an open communication. So, and I'll promise her that, see, next time I'm not going to do that, and we'll resolve it in that way. And I would ask her, so she's just 3 year old, but I will just ask her, like, what am I supposed to do when I get angry? Just help me with that. So whatever tips that I'm giving her, she'll, give that to me at that point of
That's
time.
wonderful. That's wonderful. Now, in return, she can become your mentor, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And I also like how like parents, kind of push students, no, their children to be what they weren't able to be. If anyone is in the audience or like we only have 2 people left, but if there's anyone in the audience that want to share a similar situation that they've had, please feel free to like jump in our conversation and add your insights. But I just wanted to talk about like I recently, like one of my students was extremely depressed, and I asked him like, what is wrong? His parents have really high expectations for him, which he comes to the classroom with a really nasty, bad demeanor. And he brings in this negative energy to himself, to us, to teachers, and it breaks my mood as well. And it, messes everybody else's mood. But,
Yeah.
thank you so much for your tips. It was a great reminder, be patient, be gentle, be present, listen actively. And I got to talk to him and I said, just open up. Okay, today I'll just let you talk for 5 minutes. You can rant, you can yap for 5 minutes. And then he was just like telling everything about, how much pressure parents get, and then maybe we don't maybe I even like don't realize. Sometimes I do that on my niece and nephews too, like, you have to learn the piano. I messed up when I was your age. But that was like a very good reminder for me as well. So I was learning a lot from your speech. And if anybody in the audience also want to jump in, please feel free to add. And yeah, that's pretty much like my takeaways. Do we have any questions? A few people left. Okay, if we don't have any questions, thank you, Marwa, so much. Hope to see you again in the